Welcome to our video about the Florida Everglades. We recently took a trip there in our camper, our truck camper, and we thought we would give you kind of a view of our itinerary and everything we did while we were there. You should at least try to
I don't know what I'm supposed to do, you know?
Okay, well here's a list of the things we did that I wrote down. Okay, so how did we get down there? We drove down there in our camper. We drove from Maryland down there, so from Maryland to the Everglades was about 13 hours, and we stopped at like just a place on a little RV park on the side of the road for like 20 bucks the first night, which was really nice because we had hookups, but it was still pretty cheap. And then we actually stayed at this really awesome RV park called the Outdoor Resort of Chokoloskee, which was on an island, and just had like absolutely beautiful campsites on the water, fully paved. I think you could buy obviously the sites. The guy that was next to us said they were what, like, how much is it?
I don't remember, but I mean, envision sort of a condo RV park. So everyone's buying sort of vacation lots where they put big motor homes, or some of them I would say are semi-permanent, but it's really, you know, a well-done RV park. I think the thing we felt was the best was the hot tubs.
Yeah, we always like the hot tubs.
And there's multiple hot tubs, which is good because it's definitely during the pandemic and we're trying to be socially distanced as possible. So it was nice, you know, we had an open lot. We dropped our truck camper. You didn't have to keep the truck camper on the truck, as some places that are nicer RV parks require. And, you know, everyone was super friendly.
So Outdoor Resorts of Chokoloskee is in Everglades City.
No, it's not.
Well, it's outside of Everglades City.
It's on its own island. It's Chokoloskee Island.
No, but I want to talk about Everglades City.
That's fine, but I'm just trying to correct the record.
Okay. So Everglades City, there's nothing there. That's the story. So
there's a few things there. There's a grocery store.
Even though it says city, don't expect to be staying near a large town. There's a grocery store without that much stuff in it.
It's very small.
Very like, I would go to a grocery store before you go there, and a gas station, and
2 restaurants.
I would recommend staying where we stayed in that area just because you're close to Big Cypress and you're close to the 10,000 Islands, and so you get to see a lot of the natural, beautiful places there at an affordable price. So we did an airboat tour in the Everglades.
It was amazing. It was a lot of fun.
It was really fun. The name of the airboat company was called Down South Airboat Tours. Definitely recommend them because they give you a private tour. You're not like with a group of other people, and you can choose whether you want to do sunset or in the middle of the day. And they had like hour-and-a-half ones you could do, or 2-hour ones that you could do, which was really great. And we saw just beautiful, just a beautiful setting. It felt like you were flying. It felt like you were flying on the airboat.
I didn't think it felt like you were flying.
Okay, well I felt like you were flying.
But it was amazing, and the water level was really high, so we didn't see a ton of animals. We saw some little crocodiles and some birds.
Baby crocodiles.
Cool. Some bird nests.
Bird nests.
It sounds like the best time to go might be the spring though, when everything is blooming. The water level is still high then, right? That's still going to be the wet season. They sort of have 2 seasons, right? Wet season, dry season. And so dry season, you'll see more animals because the water level is a couple feet shallower. So, but, you know, I think when the water rises, you can get into more spots, right? You can get deeper into the forest, and there's sort of these trails that the airboats can go. It's actually really interesting.
Okay, next thing we did, I have my notes here. We rented a Craig Cat. So we rented a Craig Cat and we went to the 10,000 Islands. Do you want to tell them what a Craig Cat is?
Yeah, I like Craig Cats. They're pretty cool. So Craig Cat's kind of a unique well, I guess not personal watercraft, but it's a small boat. It has 2 pontoons and the seats are situated right over the pontoons. It's a very efficient boat, and it can get in a lot of places because it only draws, I don't even think it draws a foot of water, right? So you can slap on a 30 horsepower engine, and it doesn't go super fast. Obviously you could go over the rating and you can make a really fast boat, but it's very light, and I think it's just a lot of fun. You know, you're really close to the water, and they're really easy to navigate. So even if you haven't really driven a boat before, I would say that you could rent these Craig Cats. It's really easy to drive, right? Like you just have to take it slow. It doesn't have a brake. Obviously it's a boat, but
it's tiny.
You know, it's not fast enough that you're really gonna, you know, do any damage.
And I would not rent it on a day that there's gonna be any chop or high seas in the water, because it's really low. Like you could get knocked over
you get
pretty
jarred.
easily.
You can get jarred for sure. I mean, and I think we hit one wave pretty good and got some air. I don't know if we got air like the whole thing was out, but definitely the front was out, and that was with me not trying to do it. So, just be careful, especially.
Were you not trying to do it?
I don't know. I might have tried to do it.
I believe that.
I like to try to. It wasn't going very fast. It's not very fast, right? And so I think I was trying to have fun with it, but I think it's just important, like any time, right, to look for what the weather's going to be.
Yeah, the place that we rented the Craig Cat from, they gave us like a little GPS system, so we could follow. The 10,000 Islands is like a maze. You would not really know where you're going. So we were really happy to get this GPS system from the place we rented the Craig Cat from. And so we followed essentially the map out to White Horse Island, which was really beautiful.
White Horse Key.
White Horse Key,
I don't know the difference between a key and an island, but down in Florida they call it a key.
Yeah.
There's some islands, but mostly keys.
And it was cool because it was New Year's, and so people were actually had taken their boats there and were setting up camp for the night.
Right.
And I'm sure that seeing the stars that night would have been beautiful. And so it was really fun. And the place to see alligators in the Everglades is the Big Cypress Oasis Visitor Center.
Oasis, very cool place.
Really, so when we first went there, we went in and asked for directions. You asked for directions on how to see a panther, or you asked for advice on how we could find a panther.
Yeah.
Because there's also a bunch of panthers in that area, but they are obviously not very easy to spot. And we left and didn't even realize that there are just like a ton of alligators chilling out in front of this visitor center. So we went back and I got some video footage of the alligators, and they're huge and menacing and creepy looking.
They were big.
I also liked what we ate at the Havana Cafe. Do you remember the Havana Cafe?
So this is the only restaurant on Chokoloskee Island. If you included in Everglades City, that would make 3 restaurants. Definitely the best one. It's really highly rated. The cool thing is I really like Cuban food, and it's sort of a Cuban-inspired restaurant, right? Mm-hmm. So I believe we shared a couple things. We had a Cuban sandwich. I think you had a coffee, some sort of...
I had a cafe con leche.
Cafe con leche?
It was delicious.
Right.
So I highly recommend getting that. I think we also got a grouper sandwich and the Cuban.
Yeah, that's the other thing I totally forgot is down in Florida, you should always try to eat the fresh seafood, and a lot of it's grouper. And I'll tell you what, that is a really good fish. Grouper, it's well known as a really good fish to eat, and down there it's cheap, right? And so we don't really get grouper in Maryland. You'd really have to fly it in, or, I guess you just don't see it, right? Is my point. And so down in Florida, they have tons of grouper. So eat grouper. I think you also see swordfish a lot more, and swordfish is definitely one of my favorite fishes. So I try to eat that when I'm down there. But the fresh seafood down there, it just can't be beat.
Yeah.
So this place was great, right? And it was a cool little garden patio.
Yeah.
We sat outside, which I really liked, right? Again,
there was a
during
dog
a pandemic.
there as well, a lab mix.
The lab mix probably won't be there when you go there because it was just another customer. So you can bring your dog. I guess that's the point.
Yeah, that's the point.
You can bring your dog, even if your dog is like this, Alfie, and he's 11 months old and he's going wild. Although I wouldn't take him. The dog there was much more
better behaved.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much our trip. So what we would recommend is if you have a camper staying at the Outdoor Resorts of Chokoloskee, just one of the nicest camper RV resorts we've ever stayed at. Definitely book an airboat boat tour, but try and stay away from the tourist trap airboat tours and book with Down South Airboat Tours. Check out the Big Cypress Oasis Visitor Center so you can see the alligators and ask the rangers for advice on where to see panthers.
And that's a good place because you know what you saw in the parking lot when you got there?
Other truck campers. Yeah, other truck campers.
Anytime you see other truck campers, that's usually a good sign.
And then last thing, and make sure you check out the 10,000 Islands and rent a boat or a Craig Cat. So that's our Everglades video.
That was fun. And we'll see you next time.
When we do one on the Florida Keys. Yep.